we're going to dive into a story that I think everyone remembers, one that just completely captured the world's attention: the baffling disappearance of a modern jetliner. I mean, how does a 240-ton Boeing 777, one of the safest planes ever built, simply vanish into the night sky?
Okay, so picture this. It's the early hours of March 8th, 2014, a totally routine flight to Beijing. You get that final calm sign-off. Good night, Malaysian 370. And then, just 2 minutes later, its transponder, the device that tells air traffic control where it is, just goes silent. The plane goes dark, makes a sharp, deliberate turn away from its destination, and just disappears from civilian radar.
So instead of flying north toward China like it was supposed to, the plane did a complete 180. It flew for hours in the exact opposite direction. It headed out over the Andaman Sea and then veered south, deep into one of the most remote and desolate places on the entire planet, the southern Indian Ocean.
And this, right here, this became the central question. The one that haunted everyone. In our modern age of satellites and GPS and constant communication, how could a state-of-the-art aircraft just disappear? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, the initial search was absolutely massive. I mean, it was this huge international effort covering 1.7 million square miles of ocean. And you know what they found? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No wreckage, no oil slick, not a single sign. And this complete void of facts left the world just desperate for answers.
And you know what happens when there's a vacuum, right? Speculation just rushed in to fill it. Theories started popping up everywhere, from the plausible, like a hijacking or maybe pilot sabotage, to some really out there stuff, like cyber attacks, secret landings, even being shot down.
This quote from the Chicago Sun-Times just nails it. This whole frenzy of speculation, it really highlighted a painful truth. Without hard evidence, without cold hard facts, any story can take root. And that left the families of 239 people in this state of just painful, unending limbo.
But then, slowly, the first threads of real scientific evidence started to emerge. Finally, amidst all the noise and all the wild theories, two crucial clues cut through the speculation. And this is where the story really starts to change.
The first clue was, well, it was invisible. It was a series of faint electronic handshakes, these pings, between the plane and a satellite. Analysts used the timing of these pings to calculate a final location arc. This line, which they called the seventh arc, represents the area where they believe the plane was when it finally, tragically, ran out of fuel.
And then, 16 months later, and thousands of kilometers away from the search area, the first tangible piece of the puzzle washed ashore on Reunion Island. This was it, the first piece of physical proof. This wing part, a flaperon, was a total game changer. Analysis confirmed it was from MH370, which finally proved the plane went down in the Indian Ocean. But it also told a really grim story. See, its conditions suggested the flaps weren't deployed for a controlled landing. It pointed to a high-speed, catastrophic dive straight into the water.
So, with these two vital clues, the electronic pings and now this piece of physical wreckage, scientists could finally begin a remarkable forensic investigation. This was a hunt for the plane's final resting place on the ocean floor, and it was going to be led by science. Australia's National Science Agency, a group called CSIRO, followed this really meticulous four-step process. They started with that seventh arc. Then, they used data from thousands of satellite-tracked buoys to create this incredibly sophisticated model of the ocean's currents. They were basically rewinding time to figure out where that flaperon might have started its long journey from. And here's where it gets really fascinating. The way they refined their models. I mean, at first they used these simple wood and steel replicas. But to really understand how the debris drifted, they got their hands on a real Boeing 777 flaperon. They even cut it down to match the damage on the one they found. The level of detail here is just incredible, all to get a precise understanding of how the wind and the waves pushed it across the ocean.
The last piece of this scientific puzzle actually came from satellite images taken just 15 days after the crash. They showed what could be a debris field right near the seventh arc. And in those images, a dozen objects were classified as probably man-made.
So, by combining their super sophisticated drift analysis with these early satellite images, the scientists were able to make a confident and really a startlingly precise conclusion. You can see it right here in their official report.
All of this incredible science gives us something that was missing for years and years, a clear path forward. So even though the mystery is still officially unsolved, we now have a destination.
And here it is, the crucial takeaway. All the evidence, the pings, the debris drift, the satellite photos, it all converges on one specific crash site, a location at 35.6 degrees south, 92.8 degrees east. And the painful irony? It's just outside the massive area that was so extensively searched for years.
So you'd think, with this new, credible data pinpointing a location, the search would kick back into high gear, right? Well, no. The official government-led search was suspended back in 2017, leaving the final step, a targeted search in this new area, untaken for years.
You know, amidst all the science and the data and the debate, we have to remember the number that's at the very heart of this tragedy. 239. 239 souls on board.
For their families, this isn't just a mystery or some scientific puzzle. It's a decade of unresolved grief. For them, the search for answers has never, ever stopped.
But now there is a renewed glimmer of hope. A private company, Ocean Infinity, has launched a brand new search using advanced robotic technology. And get this, they're doing it on a no-find, no-fee basis. They're targeting the exact area that the CSIRO scientists pinpointed.
So that's where we are now. The final question remains. With science having narrowed the search from millions of square miles of ocean to one precise targeted area, and with new technology now deployed to that very spot, we're all left to wonder, is this decade-long search finally nearing its end?